Hello, this is Monty Van Wart, your instructor. I'm pleased to say that today we have Alex Casadas, who is the Diversity Inclusion Resource Specialist for CSUSB. And first I'm going to ask Alex to give us a little bit of his background before we ask him some specific questions about recruitment.
All right. Hello, greetings. I would like to thank you, Dr. Van Wart, for allowing me the opportunity to speak with your class. A little about myself. I'm a native Southern California resident. Grew up in Banning, California my whole life. So if you're looking for, if you want to know where that's at, it's about 5 minutes away from the Casino Morongo or out towards like the Palm Springs area. So I am an alumni from Cal State San Bernardino. Received my bachelor's degree in political science in 2011. Shortly after that, I started the MPA program, and again, a proud graduate. Just recently, September 2015, in the MPA program. So I've taken a lot of the courses with Dr. Van Wart, and I can say you are getting a first class teaching and experience with him. So pay attention to a lot of his subject matter because it will be very relevant, especially going to the HR or the recruitment field. Another thing about myself is that right when I was actually starting the MPA program, got hired to work at Cal State San Bernardino, but I was also running for a political office at the Banning Unified School District. There I had won a 4-year term in office and just recently was re-elected, or technically appointed because nobody ran against me, for another 4-year term.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So our first question for Alex is a very important basic issue, and that's about hiring pools. Could you please provide an example of how we do hiring pools here at CSUSB?
Sure. So the basic example with a hiring pool, and I'm going to use Cal State San Bernardino for, since I work here. If you look at a hiring pool, we have a lot of entry-level positions. 4 hiring pools that we currently have is the Administrative Support Assistant 1, Administrative Support Assistant 2, Administrative Support Coordinator 1, and Administrative Support Coordinator 2. These positions there's a lot of these positions in our campus community because they're the very entry-level administrative office support. A lot of times if you go to the financial aid office, if you go to a lot of these different offices on campus, some of those people who are answering the phones are these positions. The reason why we have these pools deals with I don't like to say turnaround, but we do have the necessity to fill these positions on an ongoing basis.
And quickly.
The reason, and it could be for a variety of reasons. One, a lot of the people who I go out and recruit to, I tell them to apply for the pool positions for the Administrative Support Assistant 1 position, especially with those individuals who may not have a lot of work experience, to go into these pools and hopefully get called for sometimes a temporary, part-time, hourly, or even a long-term permanent position, because we don't know when, our department does not necessarily know when a department may need to fill a vacancy, sometimes on a permanent or a temporary basis. An example would be an individual goes on a paternity leave, has to leave for a couple of months, and they need somebody to fill the position. Or if somebody gets promoted to another higher classification, maybe because somebody applied for the Administrative Support Assistant 1 position, had a lot of experience, and then applied for the next pool up for Administrative Support Coordinator 1, which is a higher level, more salaried position. And they got that position, which leaves a vacancy. We see this a lot in our campus institution, which is not a bad thing. It's a lot of a good promotion, meaning people who have really worked really hard, know the institution, and they have moved up in a position because they're qualified. A lot of progression. So when you think of a pool, think of a pool being a large pot where many people can apply from for a specific classification, and at any time, departments around the campus can pull your name for an interview. Now, if you want to know what's things that are not a pool positions, or like say if we're hiring for a new president for our campus, that would be one position, only one person will be selected, and we're not going to be having that position kept open, because once we fill it, there won't be no need for it, because we assume that our position will be stay closed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
excellent. Let me do a quick follow-up. So tell me a little bit about some of the logistics of the pool and how the pool works in terms of how often you refresh it, and how you get people to reapply, and then also the software that you use, which I think is NeoGov.
Correct. So let me go with the first question as far as how often do we refresh the pool. It varies with different governmental agencies, different workplaces. For us, our pools are refreshed every 6 months. For example, just recently with the new year, we had refreshed all of those pools that I had mentioned previously for the new year. So that means anybody who had applied in the previous quarter or the previous 6 months from July 2014 to December 2015, July 2015 to December 2015, those individuals were notified that the position had been closed. Now, many of those individuals who applied may have already received jobs on campus, sought employment somewhere else. So a lot of those individuals may have recently applied, but regardless, they at least know that the position is closed, and we welcome them to reapply or resubmit their application for the next 6 months, which is the applicant pool. That's one of the ways we refresh, because a lot of the individuals who maybe sought employment may not want to apply or already work on campus. It kind of clears those applications out. In addition to replenishing, we do an active recruitment process across our local area, and in addition to the recruitment software or different agencies or venues or mediums that we post on, we really try to advocate individuals to really apply for these pool positions, especially going to the on-campus job fairs. A lot of students are asking, well, how do I get started? And I always say, look at the pool positions. They're very entry level, and those are the best ways to get your foot in the door, especially if you're considering to work at Cal State San Bernardino. Now, going into our recruitment software, about a little more than a year ago, NeoGov was our recruitment software that we had adopted, which did change drastically how we do recruitments. We used to use PeopleSoft. We still have PeopleSoft in the background, but we wanted something that was a little bit more efficient. It was a big transition for the department. Some people, of course, are fearful of change, and we have to go ahead and work with those different groups, and eventually a lot of people have gotten used to it. There's some positive and negatives with any kind of change. Some of the positives is that our recruitment turnaround and number of applications that we've received and the processing has been really reduced a great deal of how quickly we can fill positions. The negative, like say looking internally on the HR side, is that we have a lot more processing, a lot more applications to go through, and there's a lot more workload on our area. But again, this is the service, this is the type of environment we work in. We want to make sure we stay competitive and provide quality customer service to our departments that we work in. So if you're interested in looking at what NeoGov is, you can always take a look at our website, maybe apply for a position.
It's pretty common in local governments here.
Correct.
As well. This is not just for our university. I think most local governments have gone to NeoGov, haven't they?
Correct. As far as Cal State San Bernardino, we are the first CSU to adopt NeoGov.
Oh, interesting.
So again, for a lot of different campuses, I know other campuses